Shabbat Shalom to all of you. We finished the book of Bamidbar with two parashot, Matot and Masei. And this is the tribes and the journeys that we had at during the time of the exit from Egypt and to the end to arrival to the promised land. According to our sages, they say that there are around 41 journeys, plus the one that was to get into the promised land. That means there are 42. A very special number, 42. Depending which sages measure and how they count it, you're going to have different numbers. All these journeys are not exactly all that they went on, are not all the stops. But this stop has a meaning in itself and brings to us as people, when we read the Torah, about different incidents that happen with Israel. And it's going to teach us about how to behave and how to be with all of us during the times of our life. You remember when I started the book of Shemot, I'm telling you that this is partially is our life together. That's how we develop. We grew up, we are born, and we grew up, and when we mature. Bamidbar is a book that continued the beginning of the Yexiah, the exit, the exodus from Egypt. What is important here to see is about the leadership of Moshe Rabbeinu, of what he goes through, and the two generations. One generation in which we see the generation of the supposedly idyllic generation, the one that left Egypt, and this is the problem when we have idyllic ideas. We trying to put it in a pedestal, and we do not look at the situation for what it is and how it was. They were not the best people in the world. They were really under a lot of oppression. They had a slave mentality, and the Creator needed little by little to take away that slave mentality. They were totally contaminated with the other gods, the idolatry. There was a process that little by little they needed to suck out of them this idolatry. I have been telling you many principles about how to study the Torah, how to read it, how to understand it better. In this book of Bamidbar, we see the two generations. The generation who leaves Egypt, and immediately after that we jump 38 years at the end. And in this 38, the last year, the 40 year, just before to getting into the promised land, we see circumstances that sometimes are very hard to understand, especially because this new generation is going to repeat the mistakes of their forefathers. I keep telling you that sometimes we complain about our children, and we need to understand that our children sometimes are a projection of ourselves, and we want it or no, without realizing sometimes we have put in our children things that we didn't want to put on them, but that's what we have left to them. And then we need to understand, and we need to work on that from that perspective. Never looking at them as the bad people, but looking at ourselves to see how we can help them. I always say that help to others start from within, from ourselves. You cannot help somebody else if you don't start helping yourself. If you remember about when our Messiah Yeshua was asked, by the teachers, by the Perushim, and by the people that were there, he said, Master, Rabbi, how could you, make something short about the whole scripture, the whole mitzvot, no? And he say, love your God with everything, with your heart, with everything that you have, with all your might, all your power, in the Varim. And then he say, and love your neighbor, and that is Vayikra, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I told you that this is that's what contains the 10 commandments, the 10 words. The 3 first commandments are the mitzvot, and these mitzvot are called a relationship that we have with the Creator. This is very important. The 3 first ones are a relationship with the Creator. Then the 2 second ones, the next one, the 4th and 5th commandment, we call it hukim, or ordinances. And these are, according to our sages, they do not have a logical explanation, but are given to the Creator for ourselves. Okay? That means that the 4th and 5th commandment is for me. The 3 first is my relationship with the Creator. The 2 second one, the 4th and 5th, is for myself. The Shabbat, and honor my father and my mother. That is for me. And then the rest, the 5 last ones, are in a relationship with my neighbor. If we keep them, and this we call it, the mitzvot, hukim, and mishpatim, the judgments. And this is the only one that has a kind of legal character, if we can see in that way, are the last 5. But the Torah, it is not a book of legalism. And it's not a book about laws like it's being translated today. Because Torah doesn't mean law. And that was a mistranslation to me from the Hebrew to the Greek in the Septuagint, when they translate it as nomos. And that's when we start getting ourselves in trouble, because that's when legalism becomes to form part of everything. You see, Torah comes from the root word that means to teach and to give principles and to show you something, no? And has nothing to do with being legalistic. Has to do with walking in the right way. Very similar to what the prophets needed to do to show us the way. And why is so important to understand in this way? Because most of the religions are based on legalism instead of being based on understanding the revelation of the Creator and following their principles, not following the letter. And sometimes we are so touched by the letter that we lose the perspective of the message. Do you remember when I told you about this example about a mosaic? A beautiful mosaic. What it is made of little pebbles, no? And this mosaic, when you get very close to the mosaic, you see the pebbles. But in order to see the beautiful mosaic, you need to take a step back and to look at the beautiful picture. And this is what the Creator wants. The Creator doesn't want that you get in the letter. What He wants that you see the principle or the message that He is teaching to us. Moshe Rabbeinu went through that process. He needed to take the people of Israel from a mentality of slavery, from a mentality of submission to anybody else, and to the belief of any other gods, to only one God, to only one Creator coming back again, and to remember the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to gain self-respect. And that brought them through a process. We can compare this with ourselves many times. In our own lives, You know, sometimes we have gone through a very difficult times and we have created certain trauma, psychological trauma, whatever trauma you want to call it. And you are getting out of those traumas. And the traumas in the back, they only help you or serve you as an idea of where you were. But if you are still there, you have never come out. And you need to come out of those traumas. You know, you need to be victorious. And this is what the Torah is so important to teach us, that we can come out victorious in spite of how we were before. If God is with us, he can work with us to make us totally free. And this is what is the redemption of Israel, and it's a process. And the process is not done in 1 second. You know, it is no hocus pocus, one done. It is a process. Our Creator allowed the people of Israel for a period of time to go through a transformation. He could change them in a second. You know, he could change their minds and he could change everything else. But why he didn't do? Because who he is and what he created to us. He gave us what we call it, there are two principles I teach here. One is Bechira Chofshi, what it means free will. And the other principle that is included here is Hinasinam, you know, a gratuitous hate. You know, all of us, we have those sides that we need to fight against each other. And we call it pride, whatever you want to call it. But the greatest gift that the Creator gave it to us, the most wonderful gift that he gave us, was free will, Bechira Chofshi. And you're going to be surprised. Most of the religions, they trying to suppress your Bechira Chofshi, telling you that if you follow them, you know, you don't need to worry about yourself. They are going to do something that they are going to create a way out of you. No, because you cannot. That most of the religion teach you that. You cannot help yourself. It's impossible. Okay? And this is one of the fallacies of the many religions. Because they are going to make you believe that you need somebody else to be helped. You need somebody else to pay for your faults. You need something else to do in order to pacify, appease their gods. That's the idea. Their gods are so upset with you that they want to destroy you. And then the only way that you can do is to appease them. And how do you appease them? By killing something or destroying something or making somebody to pay for it. That's the idea. That was the old ideas. Our Creator goes with the people of Israel step by step, trying to get them out of that. He doesn't do it in a second. He allows them to go little by little and is changing the direction of many things. But we constantly go back to that. Why? Because we think that because it's not possible for us to be perfect, you know, the Creator has made a wrong deal, has made us with mistakes. The reason that he gave us free will, that was the greatest gift that God could give it to any human being. And giving us free will, what it means is that you and I, we are responsible for our own acts. Not my neighbor, not somebody else. I won't pass the buck to another person to pay for me. No. We pay for what we have done. And there is a process that we have seen before, that God produced in the whole Torah, and even with the prophet. All with the process is very simple. Teshuvah. Okay? And Teshuvah is no repentance, as many people has called it. Teshuvah is, the word Teshuvah means to come back to the Creator. And how you come back to the Creator? The only way that you come back is to acknowledging what you have done, to repair what you have done, and then to be with Him. This is the process that the Creator has given to all of us. No animals, no sacrifices, nothing else. The only thing that God requires from you is teshuvah. It's in all scripture. But then, when you do interpretations of the scripture in the way that you want it, or you want to pass the buck to somebody else, it's very easy. And most of the religions, they're going to teach you this thing. You do not need to worry about yourself. The thing that you need to do is to follow my rules and my doctrines. And you follow my rules and my doctrines, you are okay. And who are the ones that give you those rules and doctrines? The people that are in the top, you know? And they are the ones that they're going to tell you all the time, this is the way. And if you don't do this, you go bad, you know? And depending which religion you are, you can go in this way or the other way, and you need to do certain things to save your soul. And always passing the buck. Well, Moshe Rabbeinu is going to be teaching the people of Israel that they are responsible for their own actions, and they are going to pay for it. And then, when there comes an acknowledgement, okay, of what they has done, the Creator will act upon. In the moment, they're going to realize that they did something wrong, and they are going to come back. And this is the process that God constantly is talking to the people of Israel. In this book of Bamidbar, the natural direction will be the book of Joshua. But we have a fifth book, Devarim, who is the recounting of, from the perspective of Moshe Rabbeinu. The first four books were the Creator was talking to us, and Moshe Rabbeinu was transmitting that. But the book of Devarim, or the Deuteronomy, is the book that is Moshe Rabbeinu who is going to talk to us about his own experience, how he saw it. And then we can compare those books. But the idea will be you read from Joshua, from Bamidbar, and you go directly to Joshua, and you're going to see a very nice way of how this developed. You know, because it's passing the, I call it passing the batuta, passing the baton from Moshe Rabbeinu in this to Joshua. Anyway, another thing that is important that we have learned in this book, what I told you about who is Israel, and this is a very heated discourse, and the sages discuss about what is Israel. Even right now in Israel, they are having a big problem in the rabbinate, you know, because they are talking about who has the right to convert people, you know, and they are discussing that the ultra-Orthodox, they say that they are the only one that they have the right to convert people, and you have the conservatives, and you have the reformed, and that is becoming a little clash. I do not believe in conversion, that's not my problem. But what is interesting is they are fighting among themselves. You know, who truly is a Jew? You know, even I have told you now how the Rabbi has changed. You know, Jewishness today has been defined that come from the mother. The Torah teaches that come from the father. I always ask to people, who do you believe? Do you believe the man or you believe the Creator? What is saying Jeremiah in chapter 17? Cursed be the name, cursed be the man who trusts in man, and blessed be the man who trusts in God. You know, who do you believe? Do you believe the man or you believe God? You will be surprised how many things that we have accepted to believe are not in the scriptures, are deductions, theological thoughts, ideas that have been developed by very smart people who they are very good putting everything under the other things and make you look or read, but that looks like that's true. And then, but when you search inside, you realize that it is not. And we need to be with open eyes. Don't believe that everything that is bright or is shiny is gold. You need to check it. And this is why it's the responsibility of the believer. But that is the reason that our Creator gave us free will. In that way, you don't pass the buck to somebody else. It is your responsibility for whatever you do and whatever is your, where are you going. Anyway, and this basic principle, Moshe Rabbeinu received the revelation from the Creator in Har Sinai. All of us, we know that. But what is interesting here is that he didn't receive it in a way that was occult or was obscure, was in front of everybody, you know? And who were present in the Har Sinai? Only Israel. We had a group called the Arab Rab too, mixed multitude. Why was revealed in Har Sinai? And why God didn't reveal the Torah in Har Moriah or Har Moriah or the Mount Moriah in Jerusalem? Why he didn't do that? Because the Torah is universal and it's for everyone. No, what our Savior has done? They have held the Torah captive, and the Torah now is only for the Jews. You know, the Gentiles do not have the right for the Torah. The Gentiles, they don't need to follow Torah. Only the Jews. You know, and the Gentiles, they have the 7 Noahide laws. You know, and I has asked the people, where are those 7 Noahide laws? When in the Torah mention those laws? It's totally a fabrication. You see, there are so many things that they have taken out certain words, you know, and then they put it together. And this is the problem, that we believe more in what the man has put together instead of what the Creator tells us. And what we have been brainwashed. Okay? And you ask anybody according to the religion, and they are going to tell you according to the religion what they believe. And they are totally sure that they are right. Because they believe more in the religion than in what the Creator has given to us. And this is the sad story of many of us. Then, you have here, the Creator reveals the Torah, give it to Moshe Rabbeinu, to all the people that were there, and they accepted. And that was a combination of Israelites and non-Israelites, to tell you about the universality of the Torah. And finally, to give you this idea about universality, who came into Israel? Where were the 2 people who led the rest of the people from the first generation? Where were the only 2 men who came from the generation of the Yetziah, the exit? There were 2 men, Joshua and Caleb. Joshua represents the North Empire, or we call it the Israelites, you know, and Caleb represents the Yehudites, you know, the South Empire, when Israel was divided in 2. But what is more interesting about that? Yehoshua was an Israelite. Well, excuse me, was a little situation that we don't know what happened, but all of us, we are okay now. I was talking about the 2 people getting in the promised land from the first generation. Yehoshua, who was part of Israel, from the tribe of Ephraim, or from the tribe of Joseph, and Caleb went from the tribe of Judah, you know, Yehudite. But Caleb was a Gentile. He was not an Israelite. And what a beautiful picture already there that the Torah is giving to us. That Jew and Gentile, they come together to the promised land. that has been always the message of the Torah. The message of the Torah is universalist. And by the way, that's what our Messiah Yeshua came to do. He gave us a universal message to all of us. And he came to give us the Torah to begin with. You know? That's what brings us back the Torah, because at the time of Yeshua, there was not any longer following Torah. We just read this morning the Haftorah, and we just start the 3 weeks of rebuke. These weeks are not any longer following the readings of the parashat, but we are preparing ourselves for the for the special days of Yom Kippur, no, and during that time. And we are in the beginning of the 3 weeks of rebuke. And all the prophets that we are going to read are going to rebuke us about how Israel has gone away from the Creator. No? Because this idea about being idealistic, that Israel never ever abandoned God. Totally the contrary. Israel constantly abandoned God, and it's the Creator who is bringing them back. That's the Teshuvah, bringing them back constantly. And when there is always a remnant, you know, the name of our community is Shear Yashuv. It's a remnant, always a remnant. No, always there is always a people who follow the Creator for what He teaches, not for what men teach us. Then these are also already the picture about the universality of the Torah. This is something that I have been teaching you. Moshe Rabbeinu, in his trip to the Promised Land for the 38 years that he couldn't get in because of the sin of the spies, and he couldn't get in immediately to the Promised Land, and they were wandering for 38 years around the wilderness. Finally, they are ready for the second generation to come into. And the second generation had the same problem that the first generation. And he needs to deal with them. And he wants to cross to go with them to the Promised Land. And our eternal God said to him, no, you cannot do it, because you failed to me. Okay? And many people question themselves, what really was so big for Moshe Rabbeinu to do that? He didn't deserve to go to the Promised Land after all that he had gone through his people, all that he has done. No, he was 120 years old at the time that he was going to go there. You know, he needed to rest. One of the things is very interesting. Most of the rabbis, they will tell you that one of the reasons why Moshe Rabbeinu was not allowed to go with the rest of the people, with the new generation, to the Promised Land, because they were going to make him like a god. And they needed to show that he was a human being. He was not a god. And he needed to stop and to go to rest with his own parents. This is the idea about why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't go. Not because he made such disobedience, you know, was one moment that he lost his temper. For one moment that he lost his temper, he lost everything. It is the Creator, such a way that is going to punish our great teacher only for something that we look that is so minor. Well, there are more things that sometimes we need to search and look in a better perspective and to understand better. I mentioned to you that we need to go through the paradigm shift. And what I mean the paradigm shift? If you remember, I have been teaching you and sharing with you about that not everything that we have learned, it is true. And many things that we have been taught, it is not true. You know, we have learned a lot of theological understanding from different, depending which religion do you come or where, in which group did you grow up, they put in your head certain ideas. Or they make you believe in certain ideas. Or make you think, that sounds logical. Or this sounds very good. And then when you go deeper, you're going to see that even that has an appearance, it is not what it says. And that is the reason that the paradigm shift means to be open-minded. That you need to look at the things in a different way. Israel is the centrality of an understanding, because Israel is the people that have been chosen by the Creator. What Israel means is the idea that God chose a people, okay, and through these people was going to do something special. They have a calling. Everybody who is part of Israel has been called by the Creator. And the calling, we have made it to believe that it's ethnical. What it means is by race. I want to tell you right now, today there are many people who they call Jews, that they are not Jews. And there are many people who they say that they are not Jews, that they are Jews by blood, by ethnicity. Okay? But what happened is who they follow. And they believe in conversion. Men cannot convert anybody. We do not have the power to convert anybody. That is a religious lie, you know. But we work in that way. That's what is happening right now in Jerusalem, in Israel. You know, they are fighting about who has the power to convert whom, and who is the right, who converts what. These rabbis are in the black list, and these other rabbis are in the other black list. I am in the black list, but that's okay, you know. But that doesn't make any difference to me. Why? Because I do not follow men. I need to follow the Creator. That's what our Rabbi Yeshua taught us. No? And then when you put words in the mouths of another people, and that's when it's not being fair. God chose Israel, and never Israel was chosen because of ethnicity, was chosen because of a person, Abraham Avinu. And Abraham Avinu has brought his wife and brought the other people. At the beginning, Abraham Avinu, his people were all his servants. That was his servant. And little by little, then he has Jacob, and then he has Isaac, Jacob, and then the 12 members of the tribe. Interestingly enough, no one of the 12 members of the tribe of Israel married an Israelite. You know? Then how they're Jews? The rabbis tell you that the only way that you can be a Jew is your mother is a Jew. Then they have this, they say, the people are wonderful. What they say? All the women converted. Like Ruth, they converted. Make you something different. You know, like those say, no, you are no any longer meat, now you are fish. You know? This is very good. This is, I call it the hocus pocus. Well, it's time that we go down to earth. And it's time that we look at our Creator, because He gave us brains, and He gave us understanding, and He gave us responsibility. Each one of us, we are responsible before the Creator. Okay? Every religion is going to prepare a way of passing the buck to somebody else. Our Creator never make a passing the buck. Our Creator is always, you need to be in front of me. And He knows us better than we know ourselves. This is why it's so important to understand this wonderful gift of the Hirach of free will. We continue. I have been telling you about all this time that the leadership of Moshe Rabbeinu was constantly was being checked out and being put in doubt by the same people that the Creator asked to deliver them. You know, and he has rebellions from the beginning to the end. what a wonderful leader is Moshe Rabbeinu, no? He was a reluctant leader. He never wanted to be a leader. He wanted to look for every excuse that he could not to lead it. And then at the end, he realized that that was his role that the Creator had been giving, and he accepted. And he identified with his people. And he became part of his people. And he loved his people. And he was ready to give his life for his people. And what the Creator said to Moshe Rabbeinu, he said, take my life, but do not destroy my people. And what is the answer of the Creator? Nobody can give their life for somebody else. Everybody is responsible for their own act. If you sin, you pay for it. Doesn't say, somebody, don't worry, Moshe Rabbeinu died for the sins of the people. That is in the scriptures. Why? Because the Creator wanted to give to each one of us the responsibility to be ourselves. That's what our Messiah, Yeshua, told us. What happens is when you change words and you put it in different perspectives, you are going to look at different ways. I tell you that theological understanding has completely changed the natural revelation of the scriptures. One thing is to look at the scriptures, another thing is being a theologian. Theologians can look from every perspective, and they can make you believe certain things. And they bring you from there, and they bring you from here, and they put it together, and they make a beautiful presentation. And looks so good. Like sometimes so hermetic that there is no leaking. And suddenly, if you start looking inside, you're going to find the holes. But I believe by faith. That's all. You know, our Creator gave us brains. He didn't say, I won't give you intelligence because I am afraid that if you start thinking, you won't believe in me. Totally the contrary. He wanted us to search for ourselves, to become part of Him. This is the reason why Israel went through so many things. Don't you think our Creator could, in 1 second, change the mind of all the people of Israel and make them to follow Him without any problem? Do you think our Creator wouldn't want to have people who will be traitors or be people that will be against Him or they are going to commit idolatry? If He could change the minds of everyone, why He didn't do it? Because that is the principle about the great gift that the Creator gives us as human beings. You know, I start always in Bereshit to try to understand that we were made to His likeness and image. To understand that we have been made to His likeness and image, we need to understand in which way we are part of the Creator. Why He didn't say the same thing about the animals? Or why He didn't say the same thing about the plants? The only one that we are made to His likeness and image is us, human beings. And what it means to be His likeness and image? That we're a body, we have a nose and 2 eyes, and a mouth and 2 ears. That's what it means? Totally the contrary. Most of the people today, that's the idea about their gods. But our God is ethereal. He is no physical. What He gave us? We need to understand. He gave us this. He gave us this. He gave us this. What it means is the capability to communicate, to speak, and to act upon things that we think. it is us, like him. It's not only about the physical seeing. It's not about the physical touching. It's about the ethereal part that we are. Because our immortality is not in the physical part. Our immortality is in our spirits. It's in what we call in our neshama. We have lost that. Because right now, everything is so material. Everything is so here, and we need to see concrete and put it all in little boxes. We have defined God, and God cannot be defined. We have the chutzpah to teach about God, like we can teach about God. You know, when you study theology, to me it's the greatest chutzpah of any human being. Why? Because they put God in little boxes, and they define God. That is impossible. You know, Shlomo HaMelech, the great wise king, when he was building a temple, he said, I am not doing it for you. You don't need it. How I can put your person inside a little room? The temple was made not for him, was made for us. And people think that they're making for God. When we come here to the synagogue, and we come here to worship together, we're not doing for him. We're doing for us to give it to him the things. He doesn't need our praises. We need him. He doesn't need us. We need to start walking by principles. We need to start from the beginning, not from the end. Moshe Rabbeinu was very, very sad at the end because he couldn't get in the promised land. And why he couldn't get in the promised land? Because supposedly he gave the glory to himself instead to give the glory to the Creator. In a moment of outburst, because the people were so hard-headed, he couldn't take it anymore. He had gone through so many things that he lost his temper. And look at what it cost him. But the most important thing was that the eternal God gave him the opportunity to see the promised land and say, you have done a good job. Many of us, we are here in this world, and we are passing through. But we are not going to be able to complete everything. But we are passing through and giving to others. And the principle of life that the Torah is giving to us is that we need each other, we depend from each other, and we need to help each other to grow up and to look and to go up to the Creator. A true relationship with God is not based on what do I believe. The true relationship of God is what is inside me in my relationship with Him. You see, many of us, we disqualified among ourselves for our doctrines. I say so many times to people, doctrine don't save anybody. What make you right with God is what you have here inside. The lev, the heart. And this is the principle in the Torah. In the Torah, they don't teach you about that the lev, the heart, is about feelings. What is about? It's about action, thinking, and doing things. That is what is the heart. You know, in Jeremiah 17 again, when Jeremiah says, the Creator is talking and saying, how deceitful is the heart of man? Who can man know the heart of man? And he said, I know the heart of man, and I test, and I weight the heart of man, and I give him according to them. Sometimes we build up a beautiful doctrines around, and we get out from the most important point. It's about being faithful to the Creator in spite of ourselves sometimes. And when we fail, what the only thing that we need to do? Come back. One of the most beautiful stories to me that I love it is the mashal of the prodigal son, and that Yeshua told us. This is a beautiful, beautiful mashal, beautiful parable, about a young man who has everything, but now he wants to be on his own. And he asked his father all his inheritance before time. And his father gives everything to him and goes out to the world. And he does whatever he wants to do. He does the worst of the worst to the point that even he lost everything. And then when he's in the worst situation, fighting with the pigs, what to eat. What did he say? I think the lowest of the lowest workers in my father's house lives better than me right now. And what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to my father. And I'm going to tell him to receive me and to make me one of the lowest of the workers. And I'm going to be a better condition. And he did that, and he went back. And he acknowledged. And what his father say? No, I don't want to see you anymore. You are the worst of the worst. You don't know. Oh, no. Daddy, I'm going to kill an animal, or I'm going to kill somebody else to pay for my sins. That's what he say. Daddy, let me pay you for what I did wrong. Daddy, I need to pay for it. What the daddy did? He opened his arms and received him. And he gave me and put in the situation. Why? Because he acknowledged what he had done wrong. That was all that he needed to do. That's what our Messiah Yeshua teaches. The rest is poor, putting things to others. Because they want, you see, if I put in you ideas, and I put in you fear, that if you don't do according to what I am teaching you to do, you are going to go and you are going to go to the fire lake and you are going to be chicharrón, and you're going to be, barbecue or whatever. If you and put you so much fear on you, and then you are shaking because you need to do what I have been told to do. If you don't do it, you're going to suffer the consequences. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to be with his people. At the end of this book of the Bamidbar, he's told that he's going to die and he's going to pass away. And he passed to Joshua, who is going to follow him. And the only thing that he does is that I want to see the other side. He stopped arguing, and he accepted. The most difficult thing sometimes for us as human beings, and there's a beautiful principle that we can learn from the Torah. Sometimes we cannot change the situation, and we need to accept it for what they are. Doesn't mean that you give up. Doesn't mean that you need to live with it. Sometimes we do certain things that they bring consequences. And the only thing that we need to do after the consequences, we need to be thankful to the Creator that He has given a new opportunity. Our God is the God of the beginning again. Our God is the God of that He look at you as a person. Our God is the God that we as individuals, we are important and we form part of the community. Each one of us needs to have a relationship with Him. And when we come in community, we share that relationship. But remember, nobody else can replace you. You need to do it on your own. You cannot have a proxy you need to do it on yourselves. And this is the beautiful teachings. You know, and let me finish with this. In this passage, there is a beautiful teaching about, we start in Matot, about vows and oaths. And I want to read to you what our Messiah Yeshua teaches about that. This is to see how beautiful he brings to us when we read the word. He said, this is Habesorah Matayahu, the Gospel of Matthew in the Messianic writings. And he said as follows. He said, again, you have heard how it was said to our elders, you must not break your oath, but I must fulfill your oaths to the Lord. But I say to you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, since the God is the God's throne, or by earth, since that is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, since that is the city of the great king. Do not swear by your own head, either, since you cannot turn a single hair white or black. All you need to say is yes to your yes and no to your no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. What a beautiful way to finish this parasha de Matot, where our Rabbi Yeshua is teaching us about that we do not need to swear, we don't need to promise anything, only to do it or not to do it according to our answer. In the religious settings, among our people, now because we know about these ideas, we have a term that we say, bli neder. And bli neder is without promise or without a vow. No, I'm going to do this for you, bli neder. Okay? And they cover up. Don't promise anything. When you do it, you do it. When you don't do it, you don't do it. Don't promise. You're trying to do your best, try to do your best. Well, we are going to have this afternoon a long time to read and to study. I hope that everything will come okay. Shabbat shalom to all of you.